This is the Retirement Bullpen with Richard Warner. The team at Warner Financial Solutions want to help you feel confident about your retirement, no matter where you stand. Get more at warnerfinancialsolutions.com. Now, the Retirement Bullpen.
Welcome back to the Retirement Bullpen. And if we were doing this better, if we were doing this in a visual medium, I think that Richard Warner and I would have the big Raleigh fingers mustaches going just for you. That's what we would do, like true members of the bullpen. I'm your co-host, Doug Turnbull. I mentioned Richard Warner, excellent high school baseball coach, and even better, retirement income certified professional at Warner Financial Solutions, serving Greater Omaha out of Auburn, Nebraska here. WarnerFinancialSolutions.com, the place where you can contact Richard and the Warner Financial Solutions team, and you can also dial them up. Yeah, millennials, phones work, 402-274-9185, 402-274-9185. Schedule a meeting. Subscribe to the newsletter, subscribe to our podcast. They come out roughly every 2 weeks. And, of course, you can also just get online and learn more about Richard Warner and the team there. So we're in the height of summer, Richard. Hope you're staying cool in the office there. Hope the AC is working.
AC is working great, but we've got some hot days coming, buddy. Hot days are coming. It's been pretty nice so far, but we got some triple digits down the road. So
yeah, that's how it is. And I'm based out of Atlanta, so heat and humidity has been our jam. I got to tell you, one thing that's stuck in my craw, I live in a condo. We pay amenity fee every month, to take care of the whole property. But our pool was supposed to open at Memorial Day. It never did open. The phone, because the phone doesn't work, and you have to have an emergency phone in this era of everybody having a mobile phone. So we're weeks into summer, and I haven't gotten a chance to dip in our pool yet. So I might have to go break into an apartment complex fence and do. I'm not doing that, but yeah, it's gotten me hot and bothered for sure. All right. So hopefully we can get it open there. Do you even have time in your busy, both coaching and financial planning schedule to go dip in the pool? I mean, do Nebraskans actually put pools in their homes, or is that
our next door neighbor? We have next door neighbors on two sides that have pools that both said we can use anytime we want. But yeah. If I'm not in my office or doing this, or I'm at the baseball field until the end of July. So pool is not in my schedule till that point. So
I got you.
But I'll survive. I'll survive.
You'll survive. Yeah. You don't seem too upset about it. Okay. Right. I mean, you're
get cold shower.
Beach trips. We're doing all that cold shower. Oh my gosh. You are no nonsense, Richard Warner, and he's going to give that no nonsense look to your retirement plan. All right. So schedule that complimentary portfolio review. Get a second look. Hey, here's another one. If you've gone more than a year without talking to your advisor, maybe you got a problem. Maybe you have the wrong advisor. Schedule a mid-year check-in with Richard Warner and the team. 402-274-9185. WarnerFinancialSolutions.com. Spelled just like Warner Brothers, WARNER. WarnerFinancialSolutions.com. All right. I was digging around. I wanted to find a good legacy planning story. That's our topic today, Richard. And CaitlinAshleyLaw.com. The law firms a lot of times put these studies and stories together to get you to come to their website. It's a good marketing thing, but they found a good one. They found some funny and bizarre stories about wills and what people have left behind. And here's a couple I sussed out of it. There have been some eccentric requests over the years. Marvel Comics editor Mark Gruenwald requested that he be cremated, Richard, and mixed into the ink to make the comics, which I think is pretty creative, and no one's going to know the difference, but he was cremated and mixed into the ink.
Wow.
I'm sure those sell for a pretty penny, although I wasn't familiar with his name until reading this article. Harry Houdini. We've heard of Houdini. All right. I'm glad he had a legacy plan, because the way he met his demise was, in a way, sort of self-inflicted. Hey, punch me in the stomach, and that didn't work out. But he left a 10-digit code for his widow to supposedly communicate with him in the afterlife. I didn't know it was only 10 digits. I thought it was just John 3:16, but okay. Okay. And then on the sweeter side, this is good. Comedian Jack Benny left, he made sure, wrote in a writer in his will, if you will, for a long-stemmed rose to be delivered to his widow for the rest of her life.
That's kind of cool.
Right? So I'm sure he took care of her financially, but he also made sure that the heart stem happened there. So before we get into kind of the serious part of legacy planning, Richard, in your years of being a retirement income certified professional, you deal with legacy planning. Have you ever seen any odd requests such as these?
I've never seen anything quite that odd.
They're hard to top.
I know. Yeah, I do know some people I've met over the years who didn't do a great job with updating beneficiaries and things like that.
Ooh.
I can think of a lady off the top of my head that I know, and her son passed away unexpectedly. And for some reason, he had never taken her off as beneficiary and put his wife on as beneficiary.
Oh, man.
So this actually has created some, because his money was all in IRAs and things like that. It's kind of created some issues, if you will, from the standpoint of transferring to the correct person with taxes and all that kind of stuff. So it was a pain for her. And that's not the only time I've seen that. It's updating your beneficiaries is a very, very important part of legacy planning. But nothing like getting put into the ink, though. Nothing like that.
So imagine, and it's us guys. Okay, it's guy. Like it's just more of a guy mistake. All right, just like I forgot to pick up takeout the other day. This is a guy mistake. All right, imagine that, fellas, you do something dumb. You don't take care of your ticker. All right, or something like that. You pass a little bit early. And not only do you leave your wife, heartbroken and dealing with whatever, gosh, that was his dog. Now I got to take care of whatever, But then she finds out that your ex is the beneficiary when she goes in to meet with Richard Warner or somebody else. Can you imagine? Do you really want to torment her from the grave? Maybe you do. Okay, not you guys. The ones that don't. Do you really want to do that? So there's checking your beneficiaries. But what are the steps then going to the whole beginning now, Richard, that you walk people through in legacy planning? How do you help them both avoid these mistakes, but also make their dollars go the furthest and also with the least tax implications?
So great question. That starts with, where are we going to be at that point? Now, obviously, we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know the day that we're going to take our last breath. We don't know exactly what our financial situation is going to be. But by sitting down on a regular basis through retirement, and kind of updating yourself where you're at, how things looking. At the beginning point, you can get a pretty good feel based on your spending pattern as you continue through this process of retirement of what's going to be left. You start getting a feel for, wow, this is probably going to be left over. It needs to go somewhere. Something needs to be done with it. I mean, you can see it's pretty obvious in some people's situations. So that's the first step, is just getting a feel for, okay, am I going to make it through retirement with enough money? When you get through that point, now you need to be a little bit concerned with, okay, I'm going to have X amount or so left over, whatever that number might be. What do I do with that? Who should that go to? And then what do I do if something unexpected? So once we get through that portion, then beneficiaries is huge. And most people are pretty good about it, but you run into those situations, like you mentioned, the ex-wife or the mom, or lots of different scenarios like that. Some people don't have kids. That's probably the hardest one, I think, for people with legacy planning is when they don't even have kids. Seems like I run into a lot of folks like that. They don't have any kids. They don't have, obviously they've named their spouse as a beneficiary. They want to make sure their spouse is taken care of. But when their spouse is gone, who do we leave it to? So
that's a great point.
That's when you can get into some strategies as well with being very tax efficient. Maybe there's entities or nonprofits or your church or whatever that's very, very, very important to you. And you can begin utilizing some strategies to give some of that as you go, or just wait till the end, whatever you want to do. But there's lots of different ways of doing that as well.
Well, that's what I was wondering, because it was somebody, and I've seen those situations where they leave their house to the church, right? Because the house is worth something, either the church can use it or whatever. And then that is a different tax hit, obviously, because it's going to a nonprofit that doesn't have to pay certain taxes. So that's a really good point. And then there's also the question of, and I know that we've even discussed this maybe in the past, but about, do I have a will? Do I have a trust? And then I want to make sure I avoid probate, right? So can you walk through those kind of three big things: will, trust, and probate in our last couple of minutes?
So a will is the most typical legal document. And obviously you'd want to speak with an attorney to get one of these set up.
Yes.
But a will is a legal document that basically outlines where you want your stuff to go when you're gone.
Yeah.
Who you want it to go to, how you want to divide it up. It can get into some other things as well. A lot of people think wills avoid probate, but actually wills create the process of probate. They do speed the process up, because if you don't have a will, it just lengthens the process of probate. But having a will does not avoid probate. Okay.
That's a good thing to clear up.
So one thing people can work through while they're still here is, let's just use a hypothetical example. I think this is a good one. I see it a lot. They own a home. Maybe that home's paid for, maybe it's not. It's kind of irrelevant. They have several different types of accounts. Making sure you have beneficiaries listed on those accounts and those beneficiaries are updated. Any account that has a TOD, transfer on death, or a POD, pay on death, assigned to it will pay to that individual or those individuals or that entity upon your death, assuming somebody makes a claim with a death certificate to the custodian of the account. It will completely avoid probate. It's like it didn't even exist in the probate court because it has a TOD or POD attached to it. So a lot of people, that's all they need. They need a will for some of their physical assets, and they need to assign beneficiaries for their liquid assets.
Yeah.
Where you get into the potential need for a trust, in my opinion, again, I'm not an attorney, but how I would do it if it was me, is where you have multiple or large values in physical assets. When I say physical assets, I'm thinking about things like land, rental properties, maybe you have multiple vacation homes, things that are not so easy to name a beneficiary to.
Yeah, that's
that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you don't want those things going through probate if possible, just because of the process involved. Now, for one simple house, I don't think I'd mess with a trust personally. Some people do if their house is valuable enough. But you start getting into farmland and you start getting into rental properties and businesses and things like that, you probably do want to set up some sort of a legal document, and that's going to vary depending upon your situation, but something to make sure it goes where you want it to go when you're gone, that is not torn apart in a court over months and months and years. Like we've heard many, many stories historically of very wealthy people having nothing set up and large chunks of their funds going to attorneys, probate fees, all those types of things, taxes that didn't have to happen. Yeah,
let's mention the attorney. And of course, it's important to have an attorney to set up these documents, but and to you, just like you pay fees to a financial advisor, you want to make sure that you have the right professionals at the right times looking at things. But gosh, if you can have as much in order as possible, so the attorney involvement post-mortem is this much, a little bit instead of that much. I mean, then that makes it more efficient too before we even get to taxes or who gets what. That's a great point.
Right. And that also gives you the say in the front end, because if you don't set it up on the front end when you're still here, somebody else is going to decide for you. And if you have a lot of potential heirs, it can create a big fight. And I personally don't want to leave that mess to my heirs. I don't want them fighting, even though I won't be here to see it or know about it. I don't want them fighting over the situation. If I have it outlined up front, they can blame nobody but me.
Right.
They can't blame each other.
That's right.
They need to coexist with each other and get along for years after I'm gone, hopefully. And I don't want to ruin that because of my lack of willingness to put a plan in place.
If somebody wants to have a legacy planning discussion with you or just get that retirement plan overlook there, best way to get in touch, Richard, and can they get on the calendar ASAP even?
Yeah. Just give us a call, 402-274-9185, best way to reach us. You can go to our website and request information. You can go to our Facebook page and request information. You can email us at warnerfinancial@outlook.com and request information. You can even text that 402-274-9115 number. Just put a name in that text so I know who you are and what you want, and we can respond. Or somebody will get back to you, not necessarily the text, but they'll get back to you with a phone call. There's lots of ways to get a hold of us if you want.
Yeah.
The first step is just to sit down and get an idea where you're at and where you're trying to go, and then we'll go from there.
And I see those contact forms. They come to my email box too, so I know when that's happening. I've seen them fill them out for you, Richard. And you put your name in, your number, your email, the reason that you want to be in touch. And hey, we would love if you also put how you heard about it and tell them it's the podcast too, because we try to track that as well. Okay, I mean,
that'd be great.
Shameless plug, but it's true. And if you hear something that you want other people that, or you think, hey man, my mom needs to hear that, my brother, my friend, whoever, send them the link. All right. Whether it's Apple, whether it's Spotify, whether it's the media page or the podcast page, warnerfinancialsolutions.com, and make sure they know about it. The phone number again, 402-274-9185. That is in the show notes. All right. So is the website, warnerfinancialsolutions.com. And we hope you go out and check out past episodes too, because we've had these discussions about different parts, long-term care planning, all these different parts of retirement. And hey, in our last episode, we even talked about just doing a tune-up on your plan. Make sure you're doing the same thing that you would do to a brand new car. So, Richard, thank you so much for lending your time here. And this is my last time getting to rap with you about retirement. So I appreciate you giving me the honor of helping you get this podcast or help keep it going. And I look forward to learning more about the future.
It has been my pleasure, Doug, and I wish you the best in your next stop, man. You're going to do a great job, I'm sure.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm getting to report traffic again in Atlanta for one of our local TV stations, 11 Alive. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Well, Richard, again, thank you so much for your patience today. And we had to work through some technology stuff to make it happen too. So we really thank you for that. We also thank the patience of Brandon Benefield for having to clean up all my audio when I stammer and stutter. Okay, he's awesome. He's the producer of the show, and he makes sure and he gets published and put out to you. And we thank all of you for listening in here. Be sure to check out Warner Financial Solutions on Facebook, too. They put up a lot of good content, including links to these episodes. He is Richard Warner, retirement income certified professional and founder of Warner Financial Solutions. I'm your co-host, Doug Turnbull. Take care, you all. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Insurance products are offered to the insurance business Warner Financial. Warner Financial is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Warner Financial are not subject to investment advisor requirements. NPN number 7617022. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be considered as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual's situation. Warner Financial is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Warner Financial. Please remember that converting an employer plan account to a Roth IRA is a taxable event. Increased taxable income from the Roth IRA conversion may have several consequences. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA. IPW provides services without regard to political affiliation, and the views of the individual advisors are not necessarily the views of IPW.